In the bustling heart of Lagos, beneath a sky bruised with the promise of rain, a small hand pressed against a dusty shop window. The year was 1988. The hand belonged to a boy named Ade. His eyes, wide and full of wonder, were fixed on a single object. It wasn't food. It wasn't fine clothes. It was a small, tin toy car, painted a brilliant, defiant red. For Ade, that car was more than metal and paint. It was a universe of speed and dreams. Every evening, after school, he'd make the same pilgrimage to this window. He'd trace its outline on the glass, his breath fogging the surface. His father, Babatunde, a textile worker in a sprawling factory, often watched him from a distance. Babatunde's heart ached with a familiar pang. His wages were meager, barely enough to cover rent and put food on the table. A toy, even a small one, was a luxury they simply couldn't afford. But the look in his son's eyes was a language he understood perfectly. It spoke of a burning desire. One evening, Babatunde approached his son. "Ade, my boy, it's getting late." Ade didn't look away from the car. "Papa, look. It has wheels that turn." "I see, my son. I see." Babatunde's voice was gentle, but heavy with unspoken realities. That night, as Ade slept, dreaming of dusty roads and roaring engines, Babatunde made a decision. He went to his factory foreman the next day. "Sir, I need more hours. Any extra work, I will take it." The foreman, a stern man, eyed him. "The overtime is grueling, Babatunde. It's night work." "I am ready," Babatunde said, his resolve firm. And so, his new life began. By day, he worked his usual shift, his hands stained with dye, the clatter of looms a constant companion. By night, when the city slept, he returned to the factory. He swept floors, loaded heavy bolts of fabric, his body screaming with exhaustion. The moon became his sun, the hum of the machinery, his lullaby. Weeks turned into a month. Babatunde grew thinner, his eyes shadowed with fatigue. His wife, Funk, worried. "Babatunde, you are working yourself to the bone." "For what?" He would just smile, a tired but determined curve of his lips. "It's for our boy, Funk. For his dream." Ade noticed his father's absence. He'd wake up and his father was already gone. He'd go to bed before his father returned. "Mama, where is Papa?" he'd ask. "He's working hard for us, my love," Funk would reply, her heart heavy. Finally, the day came. Babatunde held a small wad of crumpled Naira notes in his calloused hand. It was enough. He walked, not with the shuffle of an exhausted man, but with the proud stride of a king. He went straight to the shop. The red car was still there, gleaming under the single light bulb. "I will take this," he told the shopkeeper, placing the money on the counter. That evening, Babatunde didn't wait for Ade to fall asleep. He sat on the edge of his son's small bed. "Ade, I have something for you." Ade's sleepy eyes blinked open. Babatunde opened his hand. There it was, the red tin car. Ade gasped. He sat up, his eyes wider than his father had ever seen them. He took the car with trembling hands, as if it were the most precious jewel in the world. He ran his fingers over its smooth, red surface. He turned the tiny wheels. He looked up at his father, his eyes shining with tears. He didn't have the words. He just threw his arms around his father's neck and hugged him with all his might. In that moment, Babatunde felt no exhaustion. He felt only the pure, overwhelming power of a father's love. That little red car became Ade's most prized possession. It never left his side. He created imaginary roads in the sand. He learned the physics of motion, watching it roll down a makeshift ramp. He'd take it apart, meticulously, studying its simple mechanics. His mother would often find him, surrounded by tiny screws and axles. "Ade, what have you done?" "I'm just seeing how it works, Mama. I'm going to make it faster." And he would. He'd put it back together better than before. Years passed. The tin car grew dented and its red paint chipped. But Ade's passion only grew. In school, he wasn't just a student. He was a prodigy in physics and mathematics. His teachers were amazed. This boy understands mechanics as if he were born with a wrench in his hand. He earned a scholarship, a golden ticket to a university in Germany to study automotive engineering. On the day he left, he hugged his aging father. Babatunde's hair was now more gray than black. "Papa, thank you," Ade whispered. Babatunde smiled. "Make us proud, my son." In Ade's suitcase, wrapped carefully in a soft cloth, was the little red tin car. In Germany, Ade excelled. He absorbed knowledge like a sponge. He didn't just learn the theories. He lived them, his hands greasy, his mind always racing. His professors saw in him not just a brilliant student, but a visionary. He worked for a major German car manufacturer, but his heart was always in West Africa. He dreamt of bringing his knowledge back home. He wanted to build cars in Nigeria for Nigerians, cars that could handle the rugged roads of his homeland. It was a bold, audacious dream. Many told him it was impossible. The infrastructure isn't there, they said. The investment is too risky. But Ade remembered his father working through the night for a small toy. He knew the power of a single, determined dream. He returned to Lagos, not as a boy with a toy, but as a man with a blueprint. He secured funding. He navigated bureaucracy. He inspired a team of local engineers. He worked with the same relentless energy his father had shown all those years ago. There were setbacks. There were moments of doubt. But then he would look at the little red car, which now sat proudly on his office desk. It was a constant reminder of where he came from and why he started. Finally, the day arrived. The first car, designed and manufactured in Nigeria, rolled off the assembly line of Ade Motors. It was a sleek, durable vehicle built for the African continent. At the launch ceremony, among government officials and a cheering crowd, sat an old man. Babatunde watched, his eyes blurry with tears, as his son took the stage. Ade, now a titan of industry, looked out at the crowd. His voice, broadcast across the nation, was steady and clear. Many people ask me what inspired this journey. What was the driving force? He paused, and his eyes found his father in the crowd. He held up a small, dented, red tin car. The cameras zoomed in. A hush fell over the audience. It started with this. Ade said, his voice thick with emotion. A gift from my father. He worked overtime, sacrificing his sleep and his health to buy me this toy. This little car was more than a toy. It was a promise. It was a dream. Ade looked directly at his father. Dad's small car drove my dreams. The crowd erupted in a thunderous applause. Babatunde, a humble textile worker, had given his son more than a toy. He had given him a destiny. He had ignited a spark that would build an empire and change the future of a nation. The story of Ade Motors became a legend, a testament to the idea that the smallest acts of love can have the grandest consequences. Little gifts, given with a full heart, can indeed change destinies. If this story inspired you, please like and share it with your loved ones. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that move the world.